to the cloud. So again, welcome. My name is Scott Brown. I am the Program Quality Director for District 11, and welcome to Club Ambassador Program and Club Embassy Program rollout for 2020 and 2021. So I ask every one of these groups that comes on, I'm curious, has this made its way through conversation to anybody out there? Or has it just, or did you see it on the schedule and the email and just decide to join that way? Has anybody heard about the program at all before we got on today? So 2, okay, a couple, very good. And the rest of you just got the emails and saw it on the schedule and said, hey, here's one that works for me, right? Okay, fair enough. So the Club Ambassador Program, let me start by giving you a little bit of a history about how my Toastmasters career has unfolded and how this whole program came to be. Many of you know that I am not a native Hoosier. I moved to Indiana in November of 2018. I had already been a Toastmaster for about 7 years before I moved here. I joined in 2012, in May of 2012. And my career Toastmasters, I started in District 84 in Orlando, Florida. And a few years later, my wife got promoted and we went to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which was District 47. And a year later, she changed jobs and we went back to Orlando, Florida, District 84 again. And then in 2018, she got promoted with Vera Bradley, and now we are in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I got to see District 84, 47, 84, and then 11. That meant that as I was continuing on my Toastmasters journey, I had to go find new clubs. Because back then, we weren't just sitting in our living rooms wearing shorts, getting dressed from the waist up. We actually had to put on pants and go out and see people, and I couldn't wear flip-flops everywhere I went. To every single meeting, I had to actually get dressed up and go places and meet people. Well, I went out and started visiting clubs as I moved. I went from 84 to 47 and visited 19 clubs when I went to District 47 to try to find a club that was right for me. And what I noticed as I was visiting clubs is that there were so many different ways to deliver what Toastmasters was, and also so many different personalities that I met within the clubs, and each club itself had a different personality. So when I went back to District 84, I thought, instead of going back just to the same clubs and doing the same things, I'm going to go visit some other places and see what that's like. So I went and visited half a dozen clubs or a dozen clubs when I went back to 84 and started to see the same things, that so many personalities, so many ways to deliver Toastmasters. And I started to get a sense that there was not a lot of Toastmasters in some places that were getting out and visiting other clubs, that they got really comfortable in those little 4 walls that we went to every Wednesday night or every Thursday morning or every Tuesday night to go with the same club with the same people and experience Toastmasters in the same way. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was a way to be able to go out and visit other clubs and incentivize someone for that? About the same time, I stumbled across a program that had been in District 84 that I hadn't even known about. It was called the Ambassador Program. And it was just that. It is a program to incentivize Toastmasters to go out and extend beyond their comfort zone, to go meet other Toastmasters, to go visit other clubs, to go see how other people deliver this Toastmasters experience to their members, to themselves, and how it helps them grow and how it helps others grow. And I saw so many folks that as they started to take part in the Ambassador Program were learning things, and clubs were changing. They were incorporating things from other clubs. They were learning things that they had never experienced before. And most importantly, they started to develop friendships with people they had never met before. You know, what a crazy concept. Toastmasters, being friends with people. Who would think that's a thing? But the more folks went out and they started to build relationships, we started to have a stronger community of Toastmasters. And the stronger the community of Toastmasters, the more members there were walking with each other, helping each other figure out what they were trying to get out of Toastmasters and how to help each other succeed. And being there to pick somebody up when they inevitably fell, when they stretched beyond their comfort zone, fell flat on their face, there was that friendly voice right there with them to help pick them up and say, it's okay, we're here to help. And people started to grow. much quicker than what they were when they were just in their own clubs. Life happened and we came to District 11 and I came to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I saw the exact same thing here that I had seen when I was in Florida visiting clubs, that folks hadn't been outside of their own clubs here. And I was shocked when I first went to my first deck meeting here, and I started talking to Toastmasters from other clubs in Division B in Fort Wayne and some folks that were in Indianapolis, and realized that there were people that had been in Toastmasters for 30 years that had never met other Toastmasters who had been in Toastmasters for 30 years. Like, how does that happen? Like, especially, folks in Fort Wayne that were in clubs 4 miles apart that didn't meet each other until they ended up at a deck meeting together. Like, y'all wasted 30 years. You could have been great friends. And I thought, wow, this is something that I really want to try to push forward if there was ever an opportunity. Life happened again. And all of a sudden, we found ourselves sitting in our living rooms on comfortable couches in front of a blank wall, talking to a little white dot instead of each other's faces, and realized that this is a perfect time to help people get out and build some relationships with people they may never have an opportunity to meet otherwise. Because let's face it, you can go visit a club anywhere in the world that you want to go right now. The only limitation is your internet connection and the time of day that you have available. If you want to go visit a club in India, you can do that right now. Plane tickets, no need. Just walk into your living room and turn on your laptop. If you want to go to a club in Canada or in Des Moines, Iowa, or wherever you want to go, or just to the one that's down the street that you've been meaning to attend but you never make it to, you have that opportunity to go visit those clubs now and build some friendships and build a stronger community. That gives us a perfect opportunity to help us as we come out of the pandemic to be stronger than what we were before we went into the pandemic. That is the whole goal of what the Ambassador Program is aimed to do. Help us build relationships and help us develop a stronger community of Toastmasters for the future than what we had in the past. And we know that we were great before, but wouldn't it be better if we had even stronger relationships in the future? If this thing happened again in the future, that we had a way to deal with it and we had better relationships and people from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and saw different perspectives. I know that's an important thing for me, and I have a feeling it's probably important for a number of you. I see Joyce's head bobbing up and down. Absolutely. Margaret with a big old head nod there also. I think it's an important part of why we do Toastmasters. This was never meant to be an organization that we experienced in isolation. It was always meant to be something that we did as a group. If it was something we did in isolation, we would have no need to join a club. We could figure it out on our own. Yet here we are, members of multiple clubs, many of us, because we want this experience. So that's where the Ambassador Program thought came from, and that's why we have rolled this out to all the clubs. So any questions I can answer for you about the why behind this, about how we got here and what this whole thing means before we go through how the program actually works? Can I answer anything for anybody? Everyone's cool with this? You're on board? Something that sounds like a good idea for you? Fantastic. All right. I am going to share a screen then. There we go. I'm going to share the District 11 Club Ambassador Visit Report. And it's a relatively easy process. So the number one thing that a club ambassador does is goes to visit other clubs. That's the number one thing. We want you to go out and see something new and meet somebody new. And we're going to give you some credit for it. We're going to recognize you at the spring conference, and we are going to award you with little gifts along the way to say thank you for being part of this program and for sharing the wealth out there as well. To fill out the forms, you notice on the top part here, ambassador information. We are tracking this for everybody that goes out and visits clubs. So we're going to ask everyone as you fill these out, print your name in here as legibly as possible, ambassador name, your email address, however you want us to be able to get in touch with you, and then the name of your home club. We don't need your club number necessarily. If you know it, fantastic. If you don't know it, it's okay, but we need the name of your home club, definitely. And the reason why we need the name more than the number, because realistically, a lot of us don't remember our club numbers, especially for newer clubs that have 7 digits. It's like remembering a phone number that you never call. I can't remember my wife's phone number, so there's no way I'm remembering another club number that is 7 or 8 digits long. So your name, I think we all know the name of our clubs, put that in here, club number if you know it. And then we're going to talk about the visit. What is the name of the club that you visited? By name, that's not where they meet, but what they call themselves. So are they the articulators? Are they East Side Toastmasters? Is it Pioneer 17? Whatever club it is that you visited, just put that name in here and then the date that you went there over here. So you have your name, where you went, and when you went to visit it. Signature of club officer. When we can meet in person. So this is a program that was originally designed for face-to-face visits, which someday we'll be able to do that again. I'm confident of that. But right now we know we can't. So if you are in this position where you can go and actually meet a club in person, we want you to get a signature from a club officer, not necessarily because we want someone to sign off that you were there and to give you credit for it, but more importantly, we want to make sure that you meet somebody from that other club when you go and visit them. We want to make sure that there is at least a one-on-one conversation when we can do that in person, to be able to have that conversation between Toastmasters, to be able to say, hi, my name is Scott. I'm from this club. I really enjoyed your meeting today. And just to be able to have a conversation with someone so that you don't walk in anonymously and you miss that opportunity to help build a relationship and maybe start a friendship with somebody. So that's why we want someone to have a signature if it's in person. If not, just take a screenshot. Tell them you're going to take a screenshot, like, hey, I want to take a screenshot to get credit for the ambassador program. If you don't want to be on screen, that's cool. Just turn off your camera and then just hit the old screenshot and record that for posterity's sake, and you'll see why we're going to do that in a moment. Then the entry point for this is about the experience. We want you to list 3 things three unique things about the club that you visited. And again, this is because a program that is designed for in-person visitation. When you write something down, you are vastly more likely to remember it, for it to become lodged in your memory somewhere, than what you are if you just think about it or if you type it. So the goal is for you to write something down to help you remember what it was like when you went to visit that other club. And those 3 unique things can be anything that happened there. It could be someone got attacked by their cat during the meeting. There was dogs barking. Everyone did a really cool job with the timing lights. They used backgrounds for timing lights instead of cards. Maybe they used colored floral pictures for timing lights, a green plant, a grass, or yellow flowers and red roses for the 3 colored timing lights, which was really cool, and I found it engaging. Or maybe there was a great story about something that happened, or everybody that was there had a similar background. A number of, it can be anything that's unique about that you're going to remember that meeting in particular, to why you were there, and something that resonated with you. So that's why I want you to be able to list 3 unique things. So that's the required part of the visit to be able to get credit for going. Then you can earn some extra points along the way, and everyone loves extra credit. So the first bonus points you're going to earn, bring a friend with you. Why do you think we would want to award the most points for bringing a friend with you to a different club? Feel free to unmute yourself if you have any thought about why we want you to bring a friend with you to another club.
Exposing more people to Toastmasters.
Exactly, definitely. Exposing more people to Toastmasters. Now, I am sure that everybody on this call has so many members right now in their clubs that they couldn't possibly have room for anybody else to come into a meeting, that we are just filled to capacity on Zoom with our members. That's everyone's experience out there, right? Yeah, mine either. Like most of the clubs I am in, 6 is a really good meeting. And I would love to be able to see more people, introduce more people to Toastmasters. So bringing a friend does 2 things. 1, it's a great opportunity for you to invite somebody who's not a Toastmasters to come and experience the wonder that is what we know as Toastmasters, to help introduce somebody new to a club. The second part of this, when you first went to your first Toastmasters meeting, did you understand what was happening all the way through? Did you have questions about why do they clap incessantly at everything? What's with the handshakes? What's with some clubs have bells for odd counters. Why is there dinging all the time? What does that mean? Is Clarence getting his wings today? Why are they doing that? What is a table topic? Explain this evaluation thing. I don't understand what this is all about. We had questions. I know when I first went to my first Toastmasters meeting, I went back for a second one to try to figure out what happened in the first one because I had no idea what was going on. But if you brought somebody with you, wouldn't it be nicer for that person that's never experienced it before to have somebody to ask, even if it's just in chat, why do they keep clapping at things? It would just be nice to have that conversation, right? Isn't it easier sometimes when you go meet new people if there's a friendly face in the room, even if it's just a virtual room? Do you know anybody that ever gets weirded out by going to meet new people? I do sometimes. Absolutely. When you think about why people join Toastmasters, one of the biggest reasons why they come to our clubs in the first place is because they're afraid of public speaking. And sometimes that extends just to saying, hi, my name is Scott. Especially if their name is not Scott, that's really weird. But having just that introduction part can sometimes be the most important part that you do. So we want to draw people into Toastmasters. Sometimes it's great to bring a friend. Sometimes you'll be the friend that gets brought. And you go out and visit other clubs together. So does that make sense to why this is the #1 incentivized portion of the meeting to why we want you to bring a friend? Thumbs up if you get the why behind bringing a friend to being important. Sweet. Very good. Second thing that you're going to get credit for, second most points, 3 points, prevent a pathways project or speech during the meeting. Would anybody in your have a club that you would like to hear somebody else's voice at a meeting besides the same 4 people that speak all the time? There's a bunch of like, oh yeah, right? It's great if you're a club to be able to hear a new voice. Does that not help a club to try to figure out how are we going to find speakers for next week when somebody comes in from another club and says, hey, can I give a speech? I have not seen a club yet that's like, no, we have way too many people at this meeting this week. It's great to be able to incorporate that, isn't it? And from a speaker standpoint, why is it great to give a speech at a different club?
New evaluators to you.
Exactly. New evaluators, new ears. Everybody hears things through their own experiences and backgrounds. Having somebody give you feedback and providing you an evaluation from a different perspective can help you grow immensely. So it helps you as a speaker, and it greatly helps that club itself. It can also help you as you're trying to move through your path. If you're having trouble for whatever reason talking within your club, it can absolutely help you put on extra speeches out there and complete extra projects to help you move through your path a little bit in a more expedited format. So giving a speech, bringing a friend, the 2 most important parts. Make sense to why we're doing that? Everyone want to hear a different speech from somebody? I know I do. Thumbs up if we're on board, yes? Sweet. All right. Perform a meeting role, 2 points, other than being a table topics participant. Has anybody had a meeting where you've gone to in the last few weeks where you were still scrambling to try to find members to fill the meeting roles at the time that the meeting started? Anybody have those combination roles out there that have evolved over time? Like, hi, I'm the table topic / Toastmaster / general evaluator today. It happens, right? I know Irvy's on this call, and Irvy, I know I do need to send out the agenda for Friday. I haven't done it yet, and we don't have a full agenda at all for Friday. I am as guilty as anybody. Life gets busy, and I forget to send stuff out. If you have somebody that comes from a different club and they're able to help you out with a different role, does that not help the members in the club itself immensely? Wouldn't you love to have somebody be like, hey, I'm visiting from another club. I'll be your grammarian today. Wouldn't that help you? Absolutely. And then from that club's perspective, not only do you get to hear somebody else's perspective, but you also get to hear a different way that they might do the role from what you've always done that role. Sometimes grammarians are very different between clubs. Odd counters, very different between clubs. Evaluations, very different between clubs. Seeing a different perspective Doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means that they're doing it differently, and that's okay. It helps you as a club and you as a Toastmaster grow a little bit. Then we're also going to give you points for your favorite phrase and thought you heard throughout the meeting. Again, another way just to help you remember what was happening in that club. It could be something like, the guy who was speaking had horrible dad jokes. I thought those were awful, but I remember them. And that's perfectly fine. You're going to remember that. And that's the goal, is to help you remember where you were and to give you a great reason to go back. And then lastly, tell us one practice you're going to take back to your club. Now, by taking back to your club, I'm not meaning to go back and say, hey, I went to this other meeting. We are now instituting a verbal crutch, like a bell, every time somebody says, and, so, double clutch. We're doing that now. That's not the idea. When I say taking back to your club, I mean you're going to go back to your club and say, hey, I went to this meeting and they had a bell, and here's why they did it. And here's what I thought about it. So that your club can then think, is that something that we want to maybe consider for the future? Mm-hmm. Here's a couple ways that that's played out in real life in my Toastmaster journey in the past few months. Before I came to Indiana, I had never even heard of a table topics evaluator. It wasn't something that was anywhere in Florida. I had never heard of the concept before. But now, because I still go to my clubs in Florida, a couple of them have table topics evaluators, because I took the concept that I learned here back there, and they're like, that's a really good idea. We don't ever evaluate table topics. What if we help people get better at extemporaneous speaking? That's a great thing to be able to do. The same thing holds true for some clubs out there have joke masters. Some clubs have quiz masters, where somebody pays so much attention during the meeting that they then quiz the club at the end who said what, when, why, and how. It's just a different way to deliver. I've heard poet laureates are in some clubs. There are so many different ways to deliver Toastmasters that it can help you grow and do things you've never even thought about. That we don't know what we don't know, but if we take things back, we've grown just a little bit. And then lastly, to submit a photo or screenshot of the club visited, if you can include some of those names in there. We want to recognize some of those clubs that get visited a lot, that host a lot of people, as well as the members that go out and become ambassadors throughout this year at the spring conference. So let them know you're going to take their picture, do a little screenshot, and then we're going to share that information. So that is how you're going to earn points through the Toastmasters program, through the Ambassadors program. So does it all make sense? What questions do you have about how you earn points for this? Everyone's good with the how? All right, so let's go with the who. The people who can earn points for this, really simple. If you are a Toastmaster, you can be part of this if you're a member of a District 11 club. There's no, I have to be a member for so long, or I have to have done so many speeches, none of that. If you want to go visit a club, you can earn points as an ambassador. Anybody can do that. You're going to earn points by visiting at least 3 unique clubs. That means you can't visit the same club 3 times. You could go to one club and be like, wow, they are awesome. I'm going to keep going back there. They want you to become a member. They don't want you to keep coming back just as a visitor. I think we can all use extra members out there. We want you to go visit and experience other clubs. So 3 unique clubs get you into being qualified to be an official ambassador for Toastmasters in District 11. 3 unique club visits. Now, area directors and division directors, I have a fly that I just want to kill. It just keeps buzzing in and out. I'm not just like randomly making hand gestures. I'm swatting a fly, sorry. Area directors and division directors, you absolutely can be part of this program as well. The only stipulation to that, we're not going to give you credit for doing an ambassador visit the same time you're doing your official visit. So if you're an area director and you're going out and visiting a club that's in your area to do the official visit, no ambassador visit for that. But why do you think we might want you to go back a second time, to encourage you to go back a second time if you're an area director to a club? What would help that club if you came back again? Any ideas? Stephanie, I just saw you unmute.
They would get to know you better and you would get to know them better. So obviously there would be some synergy and opportunities for improvement.
Absolutely. How many of you have ever seen an area director come into your club and do a visit, and then you don't see them again for 6 months until they come back to do visit number 2? Stephanie's doing the slow nod. Yes, yes. How many times have you seen area directors come back and visit your club multiple times in a year just because they want to help build a relationship and be there to help you out? It's not as often, but I think it's way more useful. We want to encourage area directors and division directors to go visit clubs multiple times to help become a resource for that club and to help further the growth of the community of Toastmasters. The stronger the relationships, the better our Toastmasters district is going to be, and the better the experience for everybody involved. The same thing holds true for division directors. Sometimes division directors go to club contests. If a division director is going as an official capacity for a club contest, they're not going to get credit for that visit. But if they go just to go, they get credit for that one. So it's okay to go visit clubs multiple times. If you're an area director or division director, just know that you're only going to get credit for the one that you go to that's on a non-official visit. So anyone can go, and you're going to get credit for most every visit. So what clubs can you go to? If you're an ambassador, can you go to a club that's in a different state? Absolutely, yes. We want you to build a relationship and learn things. Can you go to one that's in a different country? Absolutely. We want you to go and visit as many clubs as possible. Has anybody heard of the new international club that formed between Pioneer 17 and London and Africa and India and China? There is an international club that is part of District 11 now that exists all over the world. And it's only possible because of Zoom. We can go visit other places. You're going to get credit for going to visit any club anywhere in the world. And they're probably going to ask you somewhere. If you go to visit a club in South Africa, one of the first questions is going to probably be, what is an ambassador? What does that mean? Is there a government agency with this? Should we be worried about Corona? What is happening? How does this whole thing work? Explain the program to them. Tell the why behind it. And sometimes you're going to find that other districts and areas think this is an important thing to do, and this concept may just grow to become a grassroots movement, and that'll be fantastic. So that is the who and the why to be able to be an ambassador. Anybody who completes 3 club visits, who does 3 unique club visits to other places, you're going to receive an ambassador pin. And the goal is this is going to be a program that lasts for multiple years. So the thought is in future years, because Toastmasters love to collect little trinkets of things that we do, like pins from conferences, pathways pins, trophies, those sorts of things. You can go trade pins with people and learn about other people's experiences at spring conferences and fall education days and other times we get together for contests. So that's the goal to why we're having the pin. We want this to be an ongoing expression of our willingness to go meet other people and grow the Toastmasters culture and to build a stronger community. So does that all make sense to how this whole thing works? Last part, what do you do with the form? Real simple. Anna Kang, who is a member of Toastmasters in Indianapolis, is going to be collecting all of these. You can just email her right down here at her email address. Take a picture of your form. You can send it over to her in email. And she's going to be tracking all of this. And at the end of the year, we're going to be doing reports on a monthly basis. But at the end of the year, we're going to have 3 winners for Ambassador of the Year. And we're also going to recognize 3 clubs for Embassies of the Year. What that means is the clubs that have the most points, so the clubs that have gone out and learned the most and built the most relationships, they're going to be awarded too. Because sometimes you need someone to go with you, and who better to go with you if you want to go experience a different club than someone you're friends with in your current club. It's great to go as groups. When we started doing this in Florida, we ended up with a concept that we called Who's Coming With? And Thursday mornings at the end of our meeting, someone would stand up. It was usually either myself or Jeremy Udell or Michelle Detlaff, and we would say, hey, this week I'm going to visit this club. Who's coming with? And we looked at our schedules, and if it was possible for someone to come with, that was really interesting. You see the fly just crawled right in front of the camera lens? That was fascinating. It's like something out of a Jeff Goldblum movie. The concept of who's coming with helped bring the club together because we knew that we were invested in each other's growth, and it built a different culture and a different experience for the members. So that's why we are awarding not just the top 3 individual point winners, but also the top 3 aggregates for club points out there as well. So we want to recognize the individuals and the clubs that get behind the program the most. So let's settle up. So any questions I can answer about the form itself, or how to fill out the form and how this whole thing works? Any questions I can answer about this in any way?
Scott, where is the form going to be located?
I've already emailed it to all club officers. So check your emails. It should be in there. It will be posted onto the District 11 website as well for you to be able to download. So both places, check your email, and also on the District 11 website, there will be an ambassador link on there as well. But we're working to getting that up as quickly as possible. If you notice the dates on here, there's one thing I skipped over. I'm sorry about that. September 1st through April 30th. So if you've gone out and visited clubs in the past, you're welcome to submit some points for that. That's perfectly cool. We want to award you. We want to recognize you for going out and visiting other clubs. We're doing it through April 30th so that we can recognize folks at the end of the Toastmasters year for our Ambassadors of the Year and our Embassy Winners of the Year as well. So that is how this whole thing works. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I have 2 things that I want to bring up. One
Absolutely.
is, you said that you should have either a signature of the club officer, which we can't get on Zoom,
Yep.
or take a screenshot. I'm a little uncomfortable asking for that for a club I'm just visiting. So is there another way? Like I had somebody visit our club and she asked me to send an email to somebody as evidence that I was there.
Well, you have lots of different options to be able to fill this out, to be able to get points through this. So if you don't want to ask someone to take a screenshot, we're not going to disqualify you from earning all of those other bonus points through the through the process. But we are going to stick to the signatures and to the screenshots for that last point that you get on the bonus points.
So
not
how
for
do
the
you
emails.
get the signature?
If you're in person, you just walk up to a club office and say, "Hey, I'm from whatever club. It's great to meet you."
But
you can't really do that now, though. If you don't want to ask screenshots, every club in District 11 knows this program is going on. So this isn't a surprise to anybody that's out there in our district to do it. So either the signature or the screenshot, perfectly fine to be able to do. You don't have to get all the points for every single visit. You can collect a lot of points otherwise, though.
I just want to say, I think if it's a Zoom meeting, you can also message that person privately in the chat and ask for their signature that way, or even take a screenshot of that.
It's still kind of like an email, though. Is what we're trying to do. The goal is that this carries over into when we can meet in person. So that's why we're sticking with, if you're in person, have them sign it. If you're in person, you can go up and take a photo of you and the banner and the club and everybody else that's there as well. You can do that too. So within the program, we are going to ask for either the screenshot or for a signature. The screenshot would be one of those bonus points. If you don't get either of them, you're going to still get the points for the rest of it.
Suppose we fill out the form and scan it to an officer and ask them to sign it and scan it back. Would that work?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second point I wanted to make is that we've had people visit our club, and just want to say that you want to be positive in if they ask you for comments, you want to give some positive comments, not try to change their whole structure of the club you're visiting. And so, and on the same point, if they're visiting your club, I think the Toastmaster needs to make sure they got the last word, that they're ending the meeting with the last word, not the guest.
Right. It's the same as if it was just a random guest off the street.
Yeah.
That the Toastmaster or the president of the meeting or presiding officer would generally be the one to close the meeting instead of the guest itself.
Yes.
So it's just like if you were to have a random person from down the street come to your club, they generally wouldn't be the one to close out a meeting either. Yeah, it's all about the relationship. If you're going to go to a club, you're trying to build a relationship. It's not about trying to tell someone what they're doing wrong. It's trying to help increase your ability to have more people walking with you. And the more you can do about building relationships and community, the better. That's the whole goal, is about community and about relationships.
That's good.
What else? We all good? Think it's a good program?
Yeah.
So I do have a question. As an officer, I guess I know that everyone is aware of it, but for our individual clubs, we will be responsible to go back and provide them with this information and inform them of the program.
Absolutely. That's why we're rolling this out to all club officers around the district.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I have a question
Sure.
regarding the minimum point that a person, someone can score, and the maximum. And what are the prizes? How do you define that? I don't know if you spoke about it now.
So the three prizes for so I'll start with that one. So the prizes, I purposely skipped over the prizes for the ambassador and the embassy winners of the year, because we haven't finalized our budget yet. And I know what they're going to be, but because we haven't released the budget to all of the district leaders, I'd be speaking out of turn to share that before we shared it with all the area directors, division directors, all those sorts of folks. So within the next week, you'll know that they are kind of cool. I kind of like the way that we came up with the prizes for that. I think they're helpful for all clubs and memorable for the individual winners. So there is definitely something out there. I'll be able to release that sometime next week or sometime after the 29th, after we do the next deck meeting. So that would be for the individual winners. For the points, the minimum points you can earn would be a 0. Because you have the three unique things about the club, which is the entry point. You do those, and you still get credit for the visit, but you're not earning any bonus points with it. And then the maximum would be what, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points, I believe, for the maximum amount of bonus points you could get. And anywhere in between. It's up to you to whatever you want to do and how your club visit goes.
And these credits are for an individual and not for the club. That's
For both, because we're awarding at the end of the year. We're awarding Ambassador of the Year for the 3 members that earn the most points, and we're also awarding Embassy winners for the 3 clubs that have the most points. So your home club, when at the top of the form, when you say what club you're from, that's the club that's going to get credit for your embassy points.
Okay. Thank you.
Make sense? So if you're a member of 4 clubs, pick one. All 4 don't get your points for that one visit.
But you could do
Halfway,
different visits, and you could give this week's visit to this club and this week's visit to this club.
Absolutely. You could absolutely do that, 100%. Just like Pathways. When you're getting credit for a speech, you can log in and you can give a credit for a speech to one club, and then next week when you do the same, when you do the second path with the same level, you're going to give a speech to a different club. Works the exact same way. Just pick a club, whoever you want to get credit for. What else? Great questions. Joyce?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
It's a great program. No questions.
Okay, sorry, I just saw you unmute. All right, my friends. Well,
Oh,
thank you all.
I'm
Yes.
going to practice. Would you all please smile? I'm going to do a screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Fantastic. Very easy. That's a very easy thing to do. You're the first person on any of these calls that done that, Stephanie. That is awesome. Fantastic.
I have a question now. How did you just do that? Were you with your phone or what?
I use Shift print screen on my keyboard, and then I will paste it into Paintbrush.
Oh, all that. Okay.
And I'll send it to Scott. Are you keeping track of who's on the call?
No, for these, I am not keeping track of who's on the
Okay.
call. I only do that for the ones that we have to report to Toastmasters International.
Okay. I am going to put on the chat my email address. If you want a copy of the screenshot, feel free to send me an email and request it. And was everybody, I didn't even look, was everybody visible when I did it?
I believe so.
Okay. If everybody was on, then you'll all be in the picture.
Nice. Fantastic. And at the spring conference, there will be one of the sessions we'll be doing at the spring conference will be about this, and this will be part of the recognition for this. Will be very visual in terms of how we recognize folks at the spring conference. Well, thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure seeing everyone today. I really appreciate your time, and I don't want to waste any more of your lunch hour. Go get something to eat and have a wonderful rest of your day today. And we will talk to you the next time we do one of these sessions. I think we have, we move into how to do contests. I think is the next group of meetings that's coming up, and I think that starts next week. So have a great day, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll be seeing you around. Toast on, my friends.
God, you too.
Thanks, Scott.
Take care.